Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tabcast, a podcast series by Tab Group, where we are exploring cutting edge innovations shaping industries worldwide. I'm your host, Tanya, and today we are diving into a critical pillar of global trade and food security cold chain logistics. We know India, as a major player in agri exports, pharmaceuticals, and perishables, is witnessing a rapid transformation in its cold chain infrastructure from advanced storage solutions to government policies and international collaborations. The sector is evolving at an impressive pace. Joining us today to discuss these advancements is Mr. Asheesh Fotedar, the Chief Operating Officer of the National Center for Cold Chain Development in India. With extensive experience in cold chain logistics, infrastructure development, and policy advocacy, Ashish will help us navigate the latest trends, regulatory shifts, and global partnerships shaping this industry. Welcome to the podcast, Ashish. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Tanya.
I want to focus the first segment of this podcast about advancements in India's cold chain industry. So, can you help us understand that India's cold chain sector has been a significant advancement in recent years, which is driven by technology, sustainability, and efficiency? So, Ashish, drivers to understand that how an overview of these key developments is shaping the industry of cold chain exports today.
First of all, thank you, Tanya, once again. And it's a great opportunity to present what the government of India is presently doing in terms of the development of cold chain.
Mhm.
And what we have been, advocating in last couple of years, the time I came into NCCD, is that development is a part of overall growth, but then development has to be based on certain concepts and advancements in terms of when we talk of whether it's energy efficiency, whether it's sustainability, whether it is climate, and also adhering to those protocols which are, where we are signatories, and also as a, kind of a mandate to innovate the cold chain sector uh, with a vision of how do we kind of prolong the cold chain sector and simultaneously put brakes on the post-harvest losses that are happening uh, in the produce, whether it's agriculture or whether it is horticulture, in terms of storing and reaching to the end market or to the client. So what once what we started was how do we kind of what are the major challenges in terms of when we talk of post-harvest losses. So what we understand, there has been a lot of policy intervention by the government of India from, I suppose, from a very long time. But from 2004 onwards, there has been a lot of focus in terms of government when government is trying to also put its share in terms of whether it's policy advocacy or whether it is financial support in terms of subsidies or grants, so that we reach to the destination where we want to reach, where we also intend to reduce the post harvest losses, which in turn also helps us to achieve the agenda of uh, you know doubling the farmers income, because the farmers income may mostly depend upon what kind of market potential they're going to realize out of the produce they are producing, and how do they remunerate themselves and put money into their pockets
Right.
by not allowing the wastage to happen at the primary side.
Yeah.
So what we understood was there were three, four, five things which I will come while we go around. But
Mhm.
majorly we thought of, one is to change the policy structure in terms of the policies that have been driving the cold chain sector in India. There was a policy change in 2014. Before that, there was a policy change in the first 10 years of the 2004 2012. There was a policy change, and then there was again a policy change in 2014,
Right.
and there was then now suddenly, after so many years, we understood that these policies need to be changed as the times have changed, and therefore we kind of intervened with stakeholders, had meetings with all the major stakeholders around the industry, whether it was
Right.
farmers, FPOs, traders, industry also. And then we understood what is the requirement which can, on a broader canvas, help
Right,
us to grow this industry where everybody is benefited. So that we did a policy change. We are now looking at infrastructure development with understanding what is the infrastructure right now that is standing. We are also working on energy transition, how much we can decarbonize. We are also trying to put the cold chain sector on a digital platform, which is the very very important aspect of digitalization, and then also substantially and move forward in a way where we can um, also look to integrate the whole system in terms
right.
of we connect farm to the end user in India, or help in exports also is also part of the overall growth strategy.
Right. So from what you just explained, I could understand that a strong policy framework is obviously essential for the industry's growth. And when we are coming to cold chain, there has been a shift from traditional idea of cold storage or cold chain logistics to now, which is transferring into a more technologically advanced version of the whole process. So, can you give me an insight as to how our technologies, for example, AI or IoT or automation services, is improving the idea of cold storage and its transportation for logistical purposes?
Uh, See, let's understand it in this way. For example, what we understood was that you know the main loss is happening at the primary side of the produce. That is, when a farmer is doing a post harvest, he is not able to realize his remuneration because he's not able to kind of save his produce by the time it reaches market. Either he has lost most of his produce because of the post harvest losses, or substantially he reaches to the market, then he has no kind of there is not such a kind of backup where he can go and most probably store it for a certain period of time so that he does not get into the distress selling. That is one aspect. So what we did this time in the policy was that we did some major changes on the primary side. It's not like we did only on the primary side, we also did on the distribution side as well as on the end user side. But primary side is our focus because we are a very much still a rural country in terms of where the produce is happening at the rural side of the country.
Right.
So what we did is this time we now started. First of all, we have given in the policy. What we have done is we have introduced a cold storage which is based on solar based, renewable based technology, which
Okay.
is because of the farms, most probably, what happens is there is probably a chance that, he may not, the farmer or the FPO, the, help group may not get the required energy.
Right.
Or once he is post harvesting, he is in, major hurry to put that produce into the market. So what we have now done is at the farm, we have introduced a component by the name of farm gate pack house, which is a
Okay.
small pack house where uh, there is a ventilated space where he can get his produce kind of um, um, sort it manually, most probably on the farm, and then he has an opportunity where now government is giving an additional benefit in terms of subsidy if he sets up to 10 metric ton cold storage based on the kind of technology he's liking to install. Where we are given an opportunity of biomass, we are given an opportunity of thermal based storage, we are given an opportunity where he can use renewable energy, or a conventional storage is also open to him, he or to the farmer or to the grower
Right.
or anybody who intends to set up this. So that was on the farm gate side. So second thing what we did was we also understood that there are certain farmers who are very small and marginal farmers who may not be having large amount of produce, uh, where they need a store at their farm. So what we did is have given an integrated farmhouse component also, which is mandatory in terms, which has mandatory certain components, which also looks at modernization and energy efficiency and sustainability also, and climate also. So what we did is we us trying to give them benefits in terms of setting up these integrated pack houses, which should have dock levelers for kind of getting unloading and loading in a very hygienic way, then there has to be a minimum grading processing line which can grade and kind of in terms of size, shape, whatever they want to. And then there is predominantly they have to set up a 15 metric ton two cold storages in that pack house, which
Okay.
allows them the transit period to go up to the market. So mandatory is one, but we are given an option of two. And there also we have given them the opportunity of using DRE based technology, that is which is also solar-based, decentralized renewable energy technologies, thermal-based, conventional cold storages, whatever they intend to, whatever is applicable and whatever is feasible to them, they can pick up that solution and install in that integrated pack house.
Right.
And to kind of give the impetus to the supply chain also, we have introduced a small 1 metric ton up to 2 metric ton small reefer vehicles. We are also giving, the government is now giving assistance for picking up the produce from the farms, taking it to these integrated pack houses. And from these integrated pack houses, these mobile reefer vehicles can take it either to the market, or there is one more, another bigger component, which we have renamed as collection aggregation center.
Okay.
So the concept for collection aggregation center is it has to be near the highways. So the connectivity becomes a very important part. And then this collection aggregation center would also, it's a bigger size of the integrated pack house. And this is open to 5 to 10 farmers or 5 to 10 people. And this is open to also to those agencies who are into distribution and retailing, which means, suppose, for example, there is an organization XYZ who's into distribution and retailing.
Mhm.
So they pick up the produce from the farm, get it to their collection aggregation center. There the grading and packing happens. Once the grading and packing happens, it gets into the transit cold storages, which are again based on decentralized renewable energy technology, conventional technology, thermal storage technologies, whatever is, they intend to put. And then they store it there for a certain period of time. And because they have to be near the expressways, super highways, and
Okay.
in between the farm and there after the integrated pack house, so the farmer, the producer gets an opportunity now, rather than getting into distress selling, he can either uh, go directly to the market if he has an option, or go to an integrated pack house, or go to a collection aggregation center. And this collection aggregation center has two reefer vehicles now of same 1 metric ton to 2 metric ton, allows him for a cross linkage between the farm and the market. So he brings the produce from the farm up to the collection aggregation center on these reefer vehicles, push this produce in the same reefer vehicles up to the market. And then simultaneously, what is happening also to kind of link the gap between the urban India and the rural India, we also are promoting that these reefer vehicles can go to the market and pick up produce from the markets. Now these reefer vehicles can pick up the material, pick up this produce which is not available to the rural India, pick up this produce from
Right.
the markets or from the adjoining areas, and bring it to the markets, into the rural market. So which also allows us and the other farmers, FPOs, to kind of one get exposure to what is happening outside, outside the markets. And they also enjoy the and relish the fruits which are not available to them presently. And these reefer vehicles also, we have given them an option. They can slightly modify these with some certain, foldable tables. And
Right.
with the permission of the competent authority, they can also start vending fruits and vegetables from these reefer vehicles into the rural or the urban sector. So this is what primarily we have done in the policy framework. So we are trying to strengthen both the storage in terms of reduced, which is either not, there was a loss, there was a post-harvest loss, there's a food loss, and then also simultaneously we are also strengthening the supply chain network at the spoke point. So
I
that
think.
is one major change that is happening in the policy framework, and there are changes in the cold storage patterns also. We have now introduced certain more patterns in the cold storage type, and also on the supply side where we have enhanced the reefer capacities in terms of the bigger
Right.
uh, refrigeration trucks. So initially, if you would have known that we were not giving, government was not giving assistance
Right.
on reefer trucks which was below 4 metric ton.
Okay.
So now we have kind of divided it to 1 to 2 metric ton for primary side. Then 4 metric ton up to 14 metric ton has been given to states that which is known as MIDH, Mission for Integrated Development for Horticulture, because we don't want to overlap the policies.
Right.
And 15 metric ton and above, we are up to 30 metric ton, we have given that opportunity to NHB. So in any case, the applicant wants to, come and, apply for these kind of facilities and subsidies. The policy is wide open. There are a lot of opportunities which they can avail. And we are focused and very keen, to arrest the losses at the primary side and also ensure that the farmers get the right remuneration for their produce and they do not push themselves into distress selling.
Right. So largely and very extensively, you've covered a very nuanced version of the strong policy framework that has been amended by the Indian government for these cold storage, transportation and loading, and how the whole process will work. Right.
We frame policies for
Okay.
the purpose of Government of India, which are under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, which is Mission
Applicable
for
to.
Integrated Development, yes, which is
Mhm.
states which go into the central schemes, and for the national horticulture, which are also central schemes. But in addition to these policy, the kind of framework we have developed this time, these are not only policies; these are extensive guidelines also.
Okay.
And these guidelines are based on certain discussions we had with the industry, with the federation, with the cold chain owners, to
Mhm.
kind of to give them and understand what is the problem they have been facing in last so many years. And then we are trying to compile a policy in terms of policy, and then also guidelines how this policy they need to be implemented is already uh, it is already now published and it is in the domain. This is the revised edition of the guidelines, which is
Okay.
edition 2025. Here it is very clearly written. I don't know whether this is edition 2025, and this is the book. This is uploaded on the website of National Center for Cold Chain Development,
Mhm.
and people can download it there. It is known as the Engineering Guidelines and Minimum Standards for Implementation in Cold Chain Components.
Okay.
So financially, NCCD does not dole out any policies. We dole out only policies in terms for the implementation by the states through MIDH and NHB for the central
Oh,
government.
I think, yeah, that was clear enough. So, Mr. Ashish, would you also be interested in speaking some about the India-Middle East cooperation in the cold chain industry? Would you like to highlight some policy frameworks or some international collaborations that India must be doing with the Middle East region? Because this podcast that we are having is also under the banner of an event that we are producing in Dubai, which is the World Cold Chain Expo, and we are bringing stakeholders, dealers, distributors who are part of the cold chain industry from across the world to this one platform. So, your insight on an international cooperation between India and Middle East regarding the policy frameworks or what are some of the initiatives that have been taken between the governments would be very invaluable for our audience.
See, cooperation between two countries is already happening on a very larger platform, and that is being taken care by the relevant ministries.
Okay.
And once these decisions are taken at the ministerial level, so we are also notified, and simultaneously, whatever role is being assigned to NCCD for those purposes, we follow up those roles in a very very crisp manner. And we have lot of policy intervention in terms of collaborations on the post-harvest losses,
Okay.
technological innovations with a lot of countries.
Mhm.
And most probably, I'm sure Middle East is a very huge market. And with these policy interventions, I'm sure, these policy interventions have been formatted on a very global platform. And see, we are very, very clear that, how we want to move with our policies. That
Right.
is like, for example, we are very, very clear that we have now restricted use of refrigerants which have very high global warming potential. So
Mhm.
government is very keen, to kind of ensure that, we are very climate friendly policies.
Right.
And then we are also trying to push energy efficiency is major concern to the government. So we are also ensuring that the use of decentralized based cold storages. I have, for example, let's say we have set up a demonstration center in NCCD
Right.
for our farmers, growers who can come and see the demonstration how these renewable based cold storages are working, which can be of huge help even to the international market, because India is, kind of pioneering this technology at this point of time, and
Hmm.
our manufacturers are, kind of exporting this technology to various African and European other countries. So I'm sure, Middle East being a very, highly rich in solar energy, they can take advantage of this, and they can, uh, take cues from this policy. And in case they want to, kind of, the international suppliers, manufacturers, want to see how this is going to work. We are open. They can,
Reach out.
uh, kind reach out to the respective ministries through their ministries,
Right.
and as it, will be notified, and then we will surely help them out on this.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. And just my final segment about our discussion, I really want to focus on public and private partnerships and how we can develop growth opportunities from them. So, the future of cold chain infrastructure, obviously, we know it also relies on the kind of public and private partnerships, as you mentioned, that the kind of organization that you are closely working with the government and also involving dealers and distributors that are private owned. So, could you share some insights on how emerging public-private partnership opportunities in India's cold chain sector can flourish, and what are some of the opportunities for international stakeholders to tap into the Indian opportunity and contribute to the cold chain expansion ecosystem?
See, the biggest example is NCCD only. NCCD is a organization which is in a PPP mode,
Right,
which is, if you if you like, for example, I am a professional who has worked in corporate sector for around 25 years.
right,
So I have been drafted into the NCCD because I have the expertise in terms of how to, because I have been into the industry for so many years.
right.
I worked through the ranks of an engineer, and then, I grew up into defining and understanding the technology in the prime of my youth, in terms of when I was a young boy or a young man. And I
Mm-hmm.
grew up, in the corporate sector, and understood how globally there's a change in the technology that is happening. And so
Right.
government is very clear in terms of, one is that, they intend to bring in public intervention into the as an expertise, so that, the policies which are rolled out are more of market centric,
Okay.
people centric, farmer centric, because, we have been working in the field, so that experience comes as a public private partnership. Second thing is, we also understand there is a lot more to do. This is what this is just the beginning what we have done. Predominantly, the important part of that is these cold storages. One is they are geotagged.
Hmm.
Second is these cold storages need to have an IoT-based systems.
Right.
They needs to have a unified automation system, because, for example, tomorrow I sitting in Delhi want to use a facility which is at Chennai or at Bangalore or at any part of our country.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to have an access to that uh, cold storage facility to see what's happening to my produce.
Hmm.
So that is also now being very much, facilitated and incorporated, and we have introduced those components in these policies.
Okay.
So all these policies, interventions by the government of India through NCCD is, only to strengthen the public-private partnership.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. And this has been an insightful discussion, Ashish. And I think your perspective on India's cold chain advancements, the regulatory landscape, and how you've explained the policy framework, incorporating the international collaborations, highlights how the immense potential of this sector currently carries. So, before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or advice for, let's say, businesses who are looking to invest in the cold chain industry?
My only, suggestion or request is that, India is a very happening place, and with the new policies, with the change in the not a new policy, with the certain changes in these policies, I'm sure India is going to be a food basket in next 10 years for whole of
Absolutely.
the globe. So this is the right time in terms of, coming and setting up the manufacturing units, in terms of, first of all, in terms of technology, so
Hmm.
that, once the technology becomes affordable, and it is the modern technology which is going to come in India, so there's
Right.
going to be great opportunity for, investors who want to come to India,
Absolutely.
and benefit from these policies.
So thank you for joining us once again, and to all of our listeners, stay tuned for more expert conversations and industry shaping the world. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to join us on the Tapcast podcast series and follow us for more insightful episodes. Thank you, Mr. Ashish. It was lovely to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish you all the best.